Well, we're in the last chapter. I would like to think we'd finish it, but with the notes I've got, I doubt it. Depends on you all.
You know we're starting at verse 15, right?
Yes, I do. But you haven't seen my notes. But it depends totally upon the class of how it goes. All right, so I need a reader for verses 15 through 19. Probably should only do 15 through 17, but we'll do 15 through 19. Go.
When they finished breakfast, Jesus said to Simon Peter, "Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these?" He said to him, "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." He said to him, "Feed my lambs." He said to him a second time, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" He said to him, "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." He said to him, "Tend my sheep." He said to him the third time, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" Peter was grieved because he had said him the third time, Do you love me?" And he said to him, "Lord, you know everything. You know that I love you." Jesus said to him, "Feed my sheep. Truly, truly, I say to you, when you were young, you used to dress yourself and walk wherever you wanted. But when you are old, you will stretch out your hands, and another will dress you and carry you where you do not want to go." This he showed him by the hand, said to show by what death he was to glorify God. And after saying this, he said, "Follow me."
Thank you. All right. So, first thing that comes to my mind in verse 1, well, first thing, how many of y'all eat fish for breakfast? Raise your hand.
We used to growing up.
You did growing up?
Yeah.
You quit? You don't like it anymore?
I never did. But I can still make fish for breakfast. Yeah.
I just can't say I've ever had fish for breakfast. But hey, it is what it is, right? But Jesus looks to Simon Peter and he says, "Do you love me more than these. Somebody tell me what these is all about. What's he mean by these?
I think it could be three things.
Well, you got one more than I got. Okay, go.
Do you love me more than the other disciples?
Yep.
Am I saying them all?
Anybody want to add to that? What would be the second one?
Is he talking about, is the love inside of you greater? Like I love Aaron more than Lucy loves Aaron.
Well, I think that goes hand in hand with what
Or
you think it's different.
Or the other way.
Right.
Okay.
That he loves the disciples more than he loves Jesus. He loves the people more than he loves Jesus.
Okay, hadn't thought about that. So what's third in your mind?
Fishing.
Yeah. What are they doing? They're out fishing. This is a reset, in my opinion. This is a reset. James and John and Peter were fishing in the boat when they were called by Jesus to be his disciples. This is a reset of that. He's disappeared. He's gone away. He's resurrected. They don't see him day to day like they were. They've been hiding out in this room, locked, because they were fearful of the Jews and what they might do to them. And they finally said, okay, I'm going fishing. They're reverting back to what they were. Fishermen. Okay? So, I believe, personally, it could be two things here. It's either he's talking about, and maybe it's both, frankly. It's that, do you love me more than you're going back to your secular job after I called you? That could be the story, okay? Then the other option, obviously in my opinion, is it goes back to, okay, let's go to Matthew 26. Matthew 26, someone read me verses 31 through 33.
Then Jesus said to them, "You will all fall away because of me this night. For it is written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock will be scattered. But after I am raised up, I will go before you to Galilee." Peter answered him, "Though they all fall away because of you, I will never fall away."
Go on down through 35 if you would.
Jesus said to him, "Truly I tell you, this very night, before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times." Peter said to him, "Even if I must die with you, I will not deny you." And all the disciples said the same.
Okay, so kind of sets the stage here, okay? And this is recorded in all 3 synoptic gospels, a little different way in each one, but Peter is saying what to Jesus? The prophecy, Jesus just told him what the prophecy was. I'm going to go away and you're going to scatter. That's the prophecy. What did they do? Isn't that exactly what they did? They scattered. Now, some of them came back together and were fishing. Okay? So, when you look at what Peter, how he responds, it is, not me, Lord. The others may leave you. They may go away. They may go on. Not me. I will be right here with you. Was he? A little overconfident, don't you think? But that's the that's the mindset of Peter. We've seen it throughout. That's the kind of guy he is, right? So, when you look at the two possibilities of this being, whether it was, do you love me more than this fishing and secular job, or whether you love me more than the others that you just told me not too long ago that you're better than? You're more righteous than them? You're more confident in your heart and your ability to stay with me? Whether it's one or the other, I would actually give you a caveat that says, this, I didn't come up with this, I read this, and this makes sense, that would Jesus expect him to know the hearts of the others and know that he was better than them in asking this question? Do you love me better, more than these? Would he expect that out of Peter? Yeah, I don't know. Yes, Donna.
I think just in simple looking at it, everything, Peter denied him 3 times. And in this case, Jesus affirmed him 3 times.
Exactly. Exactly. So, let's look at Peter's response to him. He said to him, "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." Did he respond to the question in whole? No. He addressed part of the question. He didn't answer the whole question. I find that interesting.
He didn't in detail, but he did say yes, at least.
He might have felt like Jesus' pronoun was ambiguous as well.
That, very possible. Very possible. Yeah, I'm not faulting you. I'm just saying, in words, it doesn't say he answered, well, yeah, I still think I'm better than they are. Don't forget that back prior to him asking or telling them what was going to happen and all that, they were arguing about what? The disciples were arguing about what? Who was going to be the greatest in the kingdom? So put that in the mindset of what was transpiring there. Okay?
I think it goes back to Jesus once again reminding them of the humility.
Exactly.
Trying to bring them back to, this is not about all these measurements. It's about the love and what the love leads to, what the love is supposed to lead to.
Yeah. This, if you go back and read Luke account of this, Jesus says to him, according to Luke, Satan wants your soul. Satan is after you. He has asked for you. He wants to sift you like wheat. That was leading up to all this, right? That's how Luke recorded it. So we're going to try. Satan's going to try you. But what did Jesus say also in that text? He said, I prayed for you. Now think about that. Think about the Lord praying for you individually. The gravity of that. He said, I prayed for you for your faith and your return. Interesting. Your return. We didn't see him saying that kind of thing to Judas, did we? When he said, go and do what you're going to do. He didn't say, and I prayed for your return, like he did to Peter. You think Jesus knows our hearts? Absolutely, he knows our hearts. He knew their hearts. Just the idea that Peter was very self-confident in his righteousness and his faith and how he was going to stand by the Lord. I'll even lay down my life in John 13, he says. And now, to your point a moment ago about humility, he has been humbled. Why? He denied him 3 times, and Jesus, when the cock crew, made eye contact with him. You think that wouldn't be humbling? Bringing you back home? Bringing you back to your senses? All right, moving on.
Also, I had one other thing about the whole,
I guess we're not moving
April
on.
was saying, he's reminding Peter here too that, he's saying, feed my lambs, tend my sheep. He was reminding them that this is going to be a servant's job. He was a servant to them when he washed their feet. He has been showing them over and over again that, again, it's not this hierarchy thing. None of this is very glamorous at all. It's tend them, feed them, love them, take care of them, serve them over and over again. So I think it was just a reminder to him that if you do still think you are better than all, let me just remind you, that's not what this job is going to be all about. It's going to be hard. You will be tried, and there will be tribulations, but your job is to be a servant and to be humble in front of them.
Yeah.
And when he calls them the first time, he says, you will fish for people, you'll fish for men. And this time, he changes to the sheep shepherd analogy, which is
Right.
also interesting.
So you got a little ahead of where I wanted to be, but you're right on target. You're right on target. So we see him say in verse 15, feed. Then in verse 16, he says, tend. And in verse 17, he says, feed again. Okay? Feed is just that, right? Share the gospel. Teach the gospel. Teach them about me. Tend, on the other hand, goes to your point. Let's go a little further than that. Tend means I'm going to care for, I'm going to guide, I'm going to govern, I'm going to defend. All that kind of comes into that word tend. And then it goes back to verse 8 or 17. He says, feed again. And you can't help but understand and see the picture of the shepherd part of this. Bringing the sheep into play. First one, he says, feed my lambs. Why do you think there's a difference between him saying, feed my lambs, the next one, tending my sheep, and the third one, feed my sheep? Why the difference in those 3 scenarios? Yes?
I can feel like it goes back to like the milk and honey analogy, that the lambs are the ones that he really, the first one he said is the priority, bringing those people up into him and gathering the new to the word, rather than feeding his sheep who are his more, they already have a good foundation in him, and that it's more of a, just keeping them healthy rather than bringing them up.
Good, good. So you're talking lambs, you're talking about babies. You're talking about newborn, okay? Newborn Christians, new babes, young, feed them. And then you get to, as you said, the sheep are a mature of that. And now we got to maintain them, we got to help them and continue to get them to grow and continue to develop. Does it remind you of anything that when you think of a shepherd, an elder, that might have been said as a direction to elders? Look at 1 Peter 5 and 2. 1 Peter 5 and 2. This is instruction to elders. And he says there, what? Feed the flock of God among you. The flock comes back to a sheep. Several sheep that are in the flock. Feed the flock of God. So this is not a brand new concept. This is the way, the analogy that I want you to understand of what is important. So I want to come back to what Donna said a moment ago. He denied Christ 3 times. We all know that. Here, he asked him 3 times, do you love me? Do you think it set in with Peter of why he was being asked 3 times?
It may be why he simply answered yes, because he understood what Jesus was showing him, reminding him, teaching him.
I think it could be either way. Frankly, I'm with you. I'm sure he got it. By the time you get down to the end of what we read here, it probably settled in by that point. But this very overconfident individual, several weeks prior, now has been humbled and say, I prayed for your return. You're coming back. This is a reset. We're going to get you back on track. But you're going to understand some things as we go through this to get you back on track. So to your point, Kimberly, there's a whole lot more here than just confessing that you love Jesus. In the questions and the answer and the rebuttal of Jesus, on each one of them, the note I wrote down here is, if one loves Jesus, what's the expectation? If you love me, what's the expectation? In all 3 situations.
Serve.
Huh?
Serve.
Serve. Action. It requires action. I found it very interesting that as in verse 17, the end of verse 17, 3rd time he asked him, do you love me? He said to him, Lord, You know everything. You know that I love you. Accurate statement? Sure, it's an accurate statement. But I think it's interesting that upon that statement, since you mentioned that, I know everything, I'm going to go ahead and tell you what your fate is. Because I know what your fate's going to be also. And that's the next two verses. Right? Interesting that you said that. So here it is. He lays it out for you. Before we go on to that, I want us to look at the fact that how does this affect our lives? It's great that we can look and see what Peter and how he did this and how he come back around and started serving again. What's in it for us? What's the message to us that we need to walk away with? Mike?
I think for me, it's when we are studying and we're in this setting, and then we are looking at what happened here. It's one thing to talk about it, but when you get outside this building and you get into the everyday life, we have to take that with us and take action to what we have studied, what we've learned to combat the real world that we really live in when we're not here.
Okay.
I think it shows us what to do if we are Peter or we're working with a Peter. If we're Peter and we have done something, Peter had to answer for it and learn from it. And then if we're interacting with a Peter, how did Jesus talk to Peter? How did he work with Peter? So that's the example we have for somebody that has stumbled, somebody that has struggled with their faith. Jesus talked to him about the facts and then what his job was, how to get back on track.
I think how he handled it is very important to us. How Jesus handled the situation. Somewhere I made a note, having trouble finding it, but my thought process at the time was, you see this play out. Do you see Jesus saying, Peter, you need to confess you're wrong. You need to confess the fact that you denied me. John doesn't record that, does he? What he does record is how Jesus led him to recommitting his life to him. That's what he records. I think that's powerful. To your point, April, of how we handle a situation when somebody is in that kind of a situation in our family. We get all caught up on, oh, you got to confess your sin, you got to confess it before men. That was a pretty public thing that he just did. Peter just did, denying Christ. We get hung up on some of this stuff just like Pharisees got hung up on stuff. What you need to do is recommit your life, and you need to guide people to be able to recommit their life just like Jesus did. We could learn a lot from that. And we would lose a lot less people if that were the case. And I'm not saying the other is not important. What I'm saying is we need to take a page out of Jesus' book and understand how to handle situations. I mean, he pointed out to Peter, yeah, I'm going to ask you 3 times. because you denied me 3 times. I'm going to ask you 3 times. We're going to get the commitment out of you. We're going to get you to get yourself aligned back where you need to be.
Peter felt it. He was grieved. And that's when Jesus knew he made his point. And it's now time to restore and move forward with him.
Yeah, good point.
So we don't need to beat a dead horse with people
That's right.
and hold them accountable for the rest of their lives for it.
But now you're going to have to prove yourself. Did he say that to Peter? You're going to have to prove yourself. Well, he did that just asking him 3 times. We're going to get to the bottom of this.
Well, I think Peter was trying to prove himself leading up to those 3 questions. Like he sprung from the boat. Like this is the 3rd time that Jesus appears to them. And Peter goes from the boat, leaves everything behind, and is there. Then the boat is brought, and Jesus says, "Bring me the fish." And Peter is the one that goes and gets it. So I get the feeling that Peter is trying to earn back his good grace with the Lord. And the Lord just says, "Do you love me?" I've seen the acts. I've seen the public things. Do you love me? That is the heart of the matter. You can fool a lot of people by the works you do, but Jesus asked him in his heart, "Do you love me?"
I guess one could say the proof in the pudding is going to be, will you feed my sheep? Will you tend my sheep? Will you do the action? Will you do that? That'll be the proof in the pudding.
And will you do those things when I'm not here?
Right. Yep. Other thoughts? Okay, so now I started down this path and sidetracked myself again back to other issues. But verses 18 and 19. Since you mentioned the fact that I know everything, here's the deal. Truly, truly, I say to you, when you were young, you used to dress yourself and walk wherever you wanted. But when you are old, you will stretch out your hands and another will dress you and carry you where you do not want to go. This he said to show by what kind of death he was to glorify God. And after saying this, he said to him, "Follow me." Isn't that what he said to them back on the earlier situation? Come and follow me. I will make you fishers of men that we've talked about. And he repeats, "Follow me." Now, if you truly love me and you're going to do what I ask you to do to feed my sheep, this is going to be how your life is. This is how it's going to end. It's not going to be pretty. But this is going to be the result, physically, of your following me. To a lot of folks, that would be very discouraging right up front. Might decide that's not the path I want to go. But obviously Peter went that path. Any thoughts?
Well, this is just, Peter is already committed to this. When he made his first, "I will not deny you, I will lay down my life for you." Then he didn't. And now he has reaffirmed his commitment. And part of me says Jesus is holding him to that earlier commitment. Like, this is what you professed. This is how it's going to end.
Yeah, this is going to be your place to step up to that
And
plate.
We're going to read. When you ask me about John, don't ask me. That's not of your concern. We're not there yet. But
Yeah.
that big picture is, this is what you signed up for.
Yes, Donna.
In 2 Peter, he refers to this.
I don't have that.
Second Peter, the first chapter, he has spent time telling them what they need to do to please God and continue to grow. And he says, in verse 12, I'll always remind you of these qualities so you know them and are established in the truth that you have. I think it is right as long as I am in this body to stir you up by way of reminder, since I know that the putting off of my body will be soon, as our Lord Jesus Christ made clear to me.
Excellent. Yeah. He goes back and brings that back. That's great. All right. We might make it through. 20 through the end of the chapter. Somebody read it. John, go for it.
Peter turned and saw the disciple whom Jesus loved following him. The one who had also leaned back against him during the supper and had said, Lord, who is it that is going to betray you? When Peter saw him, he said to Jesus, Lord, what about this man? Jesus said to him, if it is my will that he remain until I come, what is that to you? You follow me. So the saying spread abroad among the brothers that this disciple was not to die. Yet Jesus did not say to him that he was not to die, but if it is my will that he remain until I come, what is that to you? This is the disciple who is bearing witness about these things, and who has written these things, and we know that his testimony is true. There are also many other things that Jesus did. Were every one of them to be written, I suppose that the world itself could not contain the books that could be written, that would be written.
Okay, thank you. So, there were three that were very close of the disciples, right? Who were they? Peter, James, and John. Very close. They were close together. They were also close to Jesus. Very much, very close. Peter, after being told his fate, well, what about this guy? What about him? Kind of a natural human reaction, right? Well, if that's going to happen to me if I carry this out, then what about him? In verse 22, he says what? If it is my will that he remain until I come, what is that to you? Wow. Kind of right in your face, right? None of your business, young man. What did he want him to be involved with, and what did he want him to understand? Peter, what did Jesus want him to understand? Mike?
No distractions. Focus on it. You follow me. Don't pay attention to all this other stuff that doesn't have anything to do with you following my word, my example.
Okay. Good. What other concepts are there?
Peter's got to take his personal feelings out of it and realize my will, Jesus' will.
That's tough to do, though, isn't it?
Yes.
It's real tough to do. Tough for us to not compare ourselves to each other. Well, I don't do what he does, so I'm better. Right? Isn't that the concept many times?
I think it's also a really good reminder that, this is obviously something Peter struggled with to the core. Like, this is his thing, so, and he's, even in the presence of Jesus, he's still working on it, and he's still working on it, and Jesus keeps coming back and scooping him back up again. So it's a really good, encouragement to me that my thing, I'm still working on it, and it's a process, and it's going to take a hot minute, but he's still there, and he still has that grace and mercy for me, even when I'm trying really hard to get rid of that thing.
Yeah. So I couldn't help but think while you were saying that, is how is that different from any of the rest of us? We're not perfect. We're going to fail. We have our inadequacies, each one of us differently, but we have our inadequacies, and he continues to work with us. Hello? We need to continue to work with one another in the same way, with all of our inadequacies. And not put each other down for whatever we see in their life. We need to take the same approach. But what I take also from this is, Mike said it fairly well, that you need to be responsible for your own salvation. You need to take responsible for your life. Yes, we need to help each other. Yes, that's what we're here for as a family, is to help each other. But understand your responsibility is your own salvation. Number one. And your faithfulness. Any other thoughts there? All right. So 23 says, so the saying spread abroad among the brothers that this disciple was not to die. In person, they're making misinterpretations of what Jesus said. Fast forward today, we make misinterpretations of the written word. Any different?
Good thing we have it figured out.
Yeah. That's so important, I think. He was pointing out to him, it's like, that's really, the end of verse 23 says, if it is my will that he remain until I come, what is that to you? Don't concern yourself with that. Don't misinterpret what I just said. I said, if it's my will that he not die. So, we a lot of times take what Jesus says or the Bible says and hard fast rule. Hard fast is what it says. Well, Jesus said. He may not die. Well, we all know he did, or we believe he did, from secular history. But John addresses it. And the interpretation, the incorrect interpretation. He addresses that right here. So, how many ever years this had been going on, John takes it at the end of his book to address that in misinterpretation of Jesus' words. To correct that.
We're not done. We'll pick up there.
You want to pick up there?
Yeah.
Okay, you'll pick up there on verse 24 then.
We're going to go back to 20. 20 is very intriguing to me, so think on that as why John puts all that in there.
Good. Awesome stuff. Appreciate everybody. We'll finish it up, I assume, Wednesday night, and